Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now, sad day for Mr. I Roll with Joe. You know, Joseph Parker. I roll with Joseph Parker. Sad day. Joseph Parker loses to Joyce per knockout in the 11th round in a damn good fight, right? You know, I'm not happy, but I did tell you guys before that fight, no matter what the scenario is, it's going to be a good one for boxing. The other guy is going to be hot. And that's exactly the case here. Joyce is going to be hot after this. We'll get to it. But we'll start with Joseph Parker here. Joseph Parker, I roll with Joe. Proud of the guy. That's why I say the guy's a good fighter, man. Joseph Parker did what he tried to do. You know, he was in there throwing some hard punches, landing some heavy shots, combinations, you know, left, right, and then bringing the left hook up afterwards, landing these things, right? We'll get to Joyce why these things, but I'm just saying Joseph Parker has looked worse before. He threw a whole lot of good, hard shots trying to slow this guy down, and, you know, so I'm proud of what he did, you know, and he took some shots. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about the chin of Joyce in a minute, but the chin of Joseph Parker was on display here. Joseph Parker got hit with some shots throughout the fight and was still in there and coming back with some heavy shots. So, you know, like, for example, I would say Joseph Parker would have beat an Anthony Joshua on that night, for example. Somebody who a little bit chinny with the shots that he landed and the shots he were able to take, if you feel where I'm going there. Just you're dealing with Joyce on this night. And before I get into Joyce, make sure it's clear that I'm still roll with Joe. Joseph Parker's a good fighter, man. Really, good fighter. Sometimes, you know, it's not bad like a failure if you're not going to just beat the very best. You know, I roll with a Danny Garcia, for example. I don't give a damn who Danny Garcia fight. I'm rolling for him. You know, what's up? He might win it most of the time. And a couple of them he didn't. Came up short. Joseph Parker, a Michael Hunter, one of those guys who probably ain't going to beat the very best. But for his size, he's handling his business. You know, I watch little runs like that in certain fighters. You know, they ain't got to be the very best all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think Joseph Parker is going to be a problem for, you know, he's still a problem for the best out there, regardless. But this Joyce, let me make sure it's good. This guy's 15-0 with 14 KOs now, right? I challenge you to look at his record since he's been a pro and challenge against anybody else's. Like, you know, you might have to be somebody who came in and start fighting hard fights immediately, like a Rigondeaux maybe, or Lomachenko, that kind of thing. You know, maybe David Morrell because he's only got 6 fights. But, you know, normal guys starting, this guy's 15-0. Everybody's a positive record. Ain't no negative records. You know, most of them single-digit losses, you know, step-up fights. And you ain't supposed to be 15-0 with 14 KOs with the guys that Joyce has fought. And let me just say something else about Joyce. With his punch rate, right, his stamina, he reminds me of a video game back in the day. I don't know how I don't play them so much like I used to, so I don't really know. But I remember you have to give certain attributes, you know, punch of power, speed, you know. Then, you know, if you get to punch resistance and stamina, that's what they gave Joyce. Punch resistance and stamina. His punch resistance is through the roof, right? The fact that his chin is ridiculous. Joyce gets hits with things that would slow people down. He'll come, get hit with it, and still come through a looping right after just being hit with something. That's video game type of stuff. And you know, a lot of times as a boxer, you know when you hit somebody with a good shot, and you might mess around short, you know, a fraction of a second, admire your work. You don't get no admire your work time with Joyce. This guy is coming back. It's like a Terminator type of thing. And I think Joseph Parker did pretty well in fighting with this guy, because it's 270 pounds of I can take a punch and all this pressure is going to keep coming, and I punch in bunches, right? That's the thing. Now, you know, it's going to be interesting to see now, because I've had the same feeling about certain fighters, a similar feeling. I ain't going to say the same, it's always different, but you know, with Adam Kanauki, I was like, man, this guy throws a lot of punches and he could take a wallop. It's going to be a problem stopping this guy, you know? And he had a good run, very good run, where you start worrying about, man, who's going to be able to stop this guy? You're going to have to do something. And Robert Helenius was able to do so. With Joe Joyce, who he's fought already, there was a lot of people who he's fought already where you would think, well, they would have been able to slow this guy down. And ain't none of them did it. And I'm looking at the landscape. Joe Joyce is going to be a problem going forward for whoever is clever. Now, we know that Alexander Usyk beat him in a little 6-round fight before the pros. I don't forget what that was called. Those 6-round fights. And Usyk was able to, outpoint him over those 6. But that's a hard ask. Tyson Fury, I think Joe Joyce is in there too because of the pressure he's going to put on him. Right? I'm going to weigh the same as you. You want to lean on me? I'm throwing a lot more punches. Right? Does Tyson Fury's punching power able to get Joe Joyce out of there when a real punchy, real strong Joseph Parker on this night wasn't able to slow him down? Would Deontay Wilder be able to do it? Would he? Right? The only thing, Deontay Wilder, okay, I was thinking similar about Dominic Breazeale in terms of punch resistance. He was able to do it with a one-shot, one-hit quitter. That's the possibility. But if that doesn't happen, that pressure from Joe Joyce the whole fight, even him, I roll with some Deontay Wilder. That's an issue. Anthony Joshua, I think, loses. Flat out. I'm sorry to be like that with AJ, but I'm just thinking, Joe Joyce is going to, if he's able to take some of the onslaught of AJ, and AJ is not going to be taking these punches that Joseph Parker was taking, that ain't going to happen. So my point is, any fight now, after this fight, like I told you guys before this fight, any fight now for the winner of Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker is like that guy's in it. Joe Joyce is in it now, whoever we talking about. And that's what happens. That's what makes a fight significant. So much props to him and much props to my boy, Joseph Parker. Keep on trucking, bro. We still behind you. We know that you're a good fighter. Hey, I'm with you on, I don't know who would have beat Joe Joyce on that particular evening. Did a pretty good job. Keep on believing in yourself. Something else is going to materialize and it's going to happen. Right? But, because Joseph Parker is still young. But Joe Joyce, being 37 years old, it's got to happen for him now. And you're kind of happy for the guy to at least be able to be like, okay, guys, what's up? Right? I ain't got no time going backwards. I done beat the Dubois of the world, who was up and coming. I got one of them. I beat Joseph Parker, the best of the rest. Right? So anybody in the first 4, y'all feeling froggy? The Juggernaut. And now he makes his name. He represents that name, Juggernaut. I can take a damn punch and keep on coming. Anybody gonna stop that? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm about to here, y'all.